All right. I want to move over to the left. I want to actually get the perspective of the left on this because the left were one of the ones that actually protested against Elon Musk the most. All right. And they were the ones that actually didn't like the relationship between Trump and Elon Musk. And so I want to go into this from their lens and that Elon Musk recently said that he was serious about starting a new political party and that he would really start to ramp up things around the midterms.
New fallout in the very public feud between Elon Musk and President Trump. The tech billionaire is now making good on his threat to start a new political party after Trump's massive spending bill becomes law. Trump announced his America Party over the weekend, writing in part, announced his America Party, writing in part, when it comes to bankrupting our country with waste, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Trump lashed out on Truth Social, accusing his ex-bestie of going, quote, completely off the rails and becoming a, quote, train wreck. Musk hit back by writing, what's Truth Social? So things have turned bad again for these two yet again. How worried are you about an Elon Musk political party?
Well, Abby, I think it'd be easier for Elon Musk to figure out how to get to Mars than it would be to start a new political party. It's the ballot rules in states are very complicated. This is yet another issue that's decided at the states. Whether your party can be on the ballot is subject to 50 different state laws. They're very complicated. In some places, they're dependent on what you did in the previous election, running as an independent, to get on the ballot for a future race. To be a viable party, you'd have to run for all offices. You'd have to run candidates for Congress, for Senate, for governor. And Elon Musk has a lot of money. He's devoted a lot of money to politics. But if he starts a political party, there is a limit to what he can put in under federal election rules to that political party. So this is a very big undertaking, and I think he's probably blowing off steam.
Well, I am old enough to remember No Labels. Yeah. Do we not remember No Labels? And they did successfully get on quite a lot of ballots.
Yes.
And they did so largely because they had secret donors bankrolling the whole thing. It does take a ton of money, and he just has that. So, I mean, I would say this is not nothing, right?
No. Well, I think there's two different things we're talking about. We're talking about midterms and we're talking about presidentials. So No Labels was the presidential race, and so they were able to get on ballots. And the fear was really on the Democratic side that that would split the party. So if this was 2028, I think you would be more concerned. I do think, though, the amount of money that Elon Musk has that just can throw around, that is not just like backing a candidate, that can just be disruptive. And it seems like elections are so close in these days that 1 point could be a determining factor, and he has enough money to shave off 1 point. So I wouldn't just totally poo-poo it. I don't think that, as Deborah Cox says, how did we get here? Like, I think the breakup is final. I don't think they're coming back together.
No reconciliation.
I really don't. I don't think that they're going to be able to get beyond this. And I think it could play a part, not up and down the ballot, but in some key targeted, just to get under Trump's skin.
I think that Elon Musk his ego is big enough and he's petty enough to actually want to see this through. You got to remember, bro, listen, man, I don't really know if people realize how big this guy's net worth is. Elon Musk is probably, because see, people only go by his net worth based off of what it is that they look at from Tesla. Elon Musk, if I look it up right now, let me look it up. Let me see. Net worth. They're saying that Elon Musk has a net worth of roughly, even at the prices that Tesla is at now, that his equity is that of about $402 billion. That's what they're saying. Based off of how many shares, which is public information, based off of how many shares that he has, and based off of the valuation of those shares, and it's going to continue to go up. When that Tesla bot gets released, he's already released. He did a commercial on robo-taxis. People are already getting their cars delivered without a person in it. You could say whatever you want to say. C-Quiz says Elon is cooked either way. I don't know how you can say Elon is cooked when you're worth $400 billion, right? Now, here's the key about Elon Musk's net worth. I think that is more closer to $1 trillion. That is what his net worth is based off of the valuation and his shares in Tesla. You're not talking about Starlink. You're not talking about SpaceX. You're not talking about the valuation of Neuralink. I believe that Elon Musk's net worth is much more closer because none of those are publicly held or publicly traded companies, right? You're talking about Neuralink, you're talking about Starlink, you're talking about SpaceX, which all of their proprietary technology is now intersecting with each other. Starlink is basically the brainchild and an internet connection that is very much used across the world, not just in the United States of America, used across the world. And it was developed based off of technology from SpaceX. SpaceX, listen, when you got this type of money, money is not even money no more. It's not even about, like, what the fuck, what you want him to do? You want him to buy something? What is it that he can buy? He don't care about cars. He only cares about winning. He only cares about continuing to change the face of the earth. He only cares about what you think that, like, people like this, they start to really want to shape things. They want to change transportation options. They really want it, right? So now you saying, okay, well, it's probably nothing for him to spend $5 billion when his net worth continues to grow. And he don't want a sports team. He wants to start a new political party. $5 billion is literally nothing. It's pennies to him. Pennies to him. And his future net worth is probably going to be 10 times this. So if you're telling me that he don't have the ability to make some waves now, I do think that the political process here in the United States of America is a little bit different because it is a two-party system and it is a one-party system when it comes to you know, the federal deficit continuing to go up. So he's right about that. He's 100% right. But here's the thing. Political parties, even with somebody of Elon Musk, but I do think that he's still going to be throwing money around just because he can. The dude was giving away $1 million paychecks randomly to people that voted for Trump. They estimate that he spent $250 million on Trump's campaign. I don't think that he gives a F. I don't think that he cares. I don't think that he cares. Honestly, I don't really think he cares. He has some power. He just doesn't have the type of power that Trump has. He has some power. It's not that he doesn't have no power. He has a lot of power. He just doesn't have the type of power that Trump has. So again, I think that he can make some waves. I think that he can influence some elections. I think that he can start to grow a party. And you got to be careful of people like that because once they got their mind made up, I don't think that they put a number on how much they want to spend because it's more or less tied to whether or not they really believe in what they believe in.
I mean, Trump later, he also sent another Truth Social saying, talking about Elon's friend who he wanted to run at NASA. He said he thought his friend was very good. I was surprised to learn he was a blue-blooded Democrat who had never contributed to a Republican. He said, I also thought it was inappropriate that a very close friend of Elon who was in the space business will run NASA when NASA is such a big part of Elon's corporate life, which is funny because people had asked Trump about this very thing several months ago, and he was like, no, not a problem. Don't worry about it.
I was at Kennedy Space Center last week, and I saw one of Elon's rockets get shot in space, and I was like, it was very cool, by the way. I highly recommend seeing it. And 3 days later, this guy's announcing a new political party, and I'm like, dude, why don't you just stick with what you're good at? Like, I just saw that on Tuesday. Like, stick with what you're...
sort of like Trump, because I remember, we would always
because
talk about
nobody cares. Listen. He's conquered that. He's conquered this. He's conquered that. He's conquered this. One of my goals, what one of my goals are? My goals is to take over a city and to shape it in the way that I want it to be and to have complete power and control over the political process of the cities that's close to me where I live at. And it's, through real estate, through investments and all of that stuff. And it's not because, I could just do this and make millions of dollars a year, or I could just do real estate and make millions of dollars a year. But you just be like, you know what? This is important to me, or this is something meaningful when you start to take on different things. Why does George Soros influence political elections? Why is Bill Gates trying to change the way that we farm and food and water and all of this other type of stuff. Why? Why not just stick with computers and Microsoft? Because people have, and what we are as human beings, especially as men, is we are conquerors. And so we shape the world or our city or our state or our homes or whatever it is that we're involved in. We shape it in our image. That is the nature of who we are. We are just like many gods. We're just like many gods. That's all we are. We are just like it. And we do things that according to what we want to do. And when we don't like it anymore, we move on to the next thing. I'm working on it, Rocks. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, big dog. Don't worry about it. That's my first target. It's my first target. So I do think that he can make some waves.
And Republicans will be like, yeah, let's put Elon in charge of flying planes. Like, let's put Elon in charge of every part of the federal government. And now all of a sudden,
he's crazy.
Carl Foster says Tesla failed, down 8% because Doge and the whole thing. Let's look at it. Since associating himself with Trump, Tesla is up 19%. Year to date is down, but 1 year, it looks like it's up total 18.88%. So if you want to go back to, let's just say, summer 2024, and you want to go all the way back to that time, right? Then you can say that that's not necessarily true, right? Because if you want to actually go and look at the charts, since the times that he actually associated himself with Trump, Tesla is still up 18% over 1 year. So all you got to do is look at the charts, bro. All you got to do is look at it and study it and see exactly what they're up over the past year. Over the past year, Tesla's up 19%. So when people tell me stuff, I don't necessarily go by what they say. I go by the charts. I look at the actual charts. I don't go by talking points. I don't go by liberal talking points. I don't go by Democrats. I don't go by any of that. I look at the charts. And then I look at the upside. Well, I'm not going to deep dive into all of that type of stuff. I know what the 5 year is. The 5 year is 191%. So anybody could say whatever they want to say, but the numbers is different.
Well, I do think he has gone a little off the rails. I don't think there's any doubt, given his tweet storm or X storm or whatever you want to call it, that he's done. But me as a Republican, I'm not worried. I mean, if you look at the Republican Party, they're more unified than they've been in decades right now. So if you're a Republican, it's not something I'm overly concerned about. If he wants to go off and do it, I'm sure there are plenty of political grifters that will love to sign on and make a ton of money off of that. They're telling him he's a genius right now for doing it, so they can make a ton of money. If he wants to go do it,
I mean, you're not wrong. Our friend Harry Anton pulled this number for us. 4% of all voters, this is Elon's potential base, they like Elon, but they don't like the Republican Party. That's, just for the record, that's a very small number.
Look at the fight he had with the president. We know who won that fight. It was very clear. The president came out on top.
Some years ago, a Texan named Ross Perot decided to start his own party.
Third did very well.
Yeah, did well.
18%.
18%. So, look, third parties, the history of third parties on the modern politics, it's difficult to go in. Either you're a Democrat or Republican. He does have a lot of money. Question is, where will those voters that go with that party go? When races are tight, 1 or 2% can make a big difference. And
yeah, I think that Elon Musk should have some impact on the political process, especially when you talk about locally or in the Senate and stuff like that. But I don't think that he's going to replace the two-party system, the Democrats and the Republicans that we have today.